It seems simple.
I don't think it is simple. I think it's saying it is simple, but doing it is complicated because people are complicated beings. I don't care what nobody says because everybody has their own unique experiences, perspectives, traumas, outlooks. So I don't think it's simple at all. It's simpler said than done.
Yeah. And that's a good way to put it too, because you see so many relationships where people will base what they think their relationship should be off of a parent, off of a friend who they have that's in a seemingly great relationship, off of grandparents or whatever. And they be carrying around beliefs and ideas of what they think they want theirs to be that don't even include, for one, the person that they with and what's meaningful to them and what they value. Because you can't be sitting up here saying like, hey, well, I want, like, let's say if you're in a relationship and you're saying like, hey, well, I want us to be like this. Well, you can't necessarily just do that without including the person that you're with. Like, you have to create something that's unique to the both of you that reflects your values, what you guys believe in together. And I don't know if a lot of people take that into consideration. We can talk about it all, listening. Get right like you.
But you've been drinking though. You've had Crown though.
That's not the point.
You already had a drink.
It's not.
A full drink. Okay, don't drink all of it because you had yours.
It's not the point. So, Uncle John want it close to me?
No. It's mine.
Okay. You're weird. Okay. What we're talking about today is creating your own unique relationship.
You better not say it.
Anyway, creating your own unique relationship. So my question to you is, because what does it mean to create your own unique relationship? Like, what does that even mean?
It means, it literally means create what you want with your partner together from scratch. Like, it just, to me, that's what that means. Creating your own unique relationship. Yes, you can see other relationships and you're like, oh, what they have is dope and stuff like that. Like, you can get ideas, like you can get like advice from other people and things like that. And like admire other relationships. But at the end of the day, it's the relationship between you and your partner that matters, and you create it from scratch.
Right.
So that's
it seems simple.
I don't think it is simple. I think it's saying it is simple, but doing it is complicated because people are complicated beings. I don't care what nobody says because everybody has their own unique experiences, perspectives, traumas, outlooks. So I don't think it's simple at all. It's simpler said than done.
Yeah. And that's a good way to put it too, because you see so many relationships where people will base what they think their relationship should be off of a parent, off of a friend who they have that's in a seemingly great relationship, off of grandparents or whatever. And they be carrying around beliefs and ideas of what they think they want theirs to be that don't even include, for one, the person that they with and what's meaningful to them and what they value. Because you can't be sitting up here saying like, hey, well, I want, like, let's say if you're in a relationship and you're saying like, hey, well, I want us to be like this. Well, you can't necessarily just do that without including the person that you're with. Like, you have to create something that's unique to the both of you that reflects your values, what you guys believe in together. And I don't know if a lot of people take that into consideration when it comes to creating like a unique relationship. Because I mean, shoot, we got it out the mud.
Yeah.
And we had to figure it out from the jump.
Yeah.
There was no real examples of what we should follow or nothing. We was just like, hey, you know what? We really like each other. we started to love each other. You know, and then when we decided that we were going to be together, it was like, now what? You know what I mean? And we really had to figure it out from there.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't even think it was like the lack of examples for me. Because, I mean, you see my grandma and granddaddy, my dad's parents, like, they've been together forever. And my mom and dad, they were married almost 20 years, you know, before they divorced. So I've seen it. I've seen what it is, but nobody teaches you, like, how do you create this? Like, what is something you guys are doing in your relationship to make it thrive? So nobody's having these talks. Well, I didn't receive these talks.
Right.
Like, how do you be a wife? How do you create a relationship? How do you date? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you figure out what you like in a partner and stuff like that? So I don't think it's not that I didn't see examples of it. It's just that I don't know how to do that. How did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's very important. And like for us, like we created it from scratch. So we're sharing with people like, okay, this is what we did. Because if this is something that people desire, they need to learn how to make it happen too.
Yeah. Even in the beginning of our relationship, we started doing different things and figured out that there were certain things that we didn't like in the process.
Yeah.
From the ways that we communicated to how we dealt with baby girl to even functioning in a household together. Like some of that stuff we just learned along the way. Mm-hmm. You can't say learned.
You say what you want, baby. This is your show. You say whatever you want. You learned it.
Yeah, we learned it. You know what I mean? Yeah, like some stuff we just kind of learned it along the way.
Right. Okay, we learned it.
Yeah, but it was like there was no real we didn't know a lot of that stuff, so we really just had to kind of create things as we went. And I think the dope thing about what we did do was in everything that we established, it came based off of I think how we valued and viewed each other, mm-hmm. and what we wanted to do and how we wanted to make each other feel.
Right.
Like, I know for you in the beginning, it was a whole lot of us being teammates, us being partners. And I was the same way. Like, I was like, okay, well, let's figure this thing out together.
Mm-hmm.
And we operated like that.
Right.
And then when it came around to, you know, being parents and having this household and how we should function and operate, it was like, let's just try some stuff out and see how it works for us, and we adjusted along the way. And there was never any, this is how it has to be, or this is what it should be, or whatever. It's like, no, let's do what feels right.
Right.
Let's do what feels right for us.
Yeah.
And then we can adjust and tweak along the way if our beliefs change, or if we think that there's a way that we could do something better.
Yeah, I think it's important to try stuff to see what will work for you. You don't know. And a lot of people are stuck doing the same thing over and over again, and there may be a better way. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's super dope that we did try so many different ways of parenting, different ways of, you know, improving our marriage, different ways of communicating, just to try shit out and just see what works, you know? Like, yeah, it might be good, but it can be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just how can we improve whatever it is, you know?
Right. Because even in our backgrounds are so different.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't come from any type of structure.
Mm.
Like, none.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't exist at all. And you had a lot of it. And you had to create it for yourself. And then us becoming, you know, like this magnificent couple, you know, that we are today. But in our process of, you know what it is, you know, but in our process of becoming that earlier on and us, you know, living together and doing all of this stuff, you had to introduce me to structure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You had to introduce me to a lot of ways that did make me better because I didn't have none of that. And I think it was even dope that in the beginning, I was aware, I was like, man, you know what? Her structure and disciplines and all of that, like, it's so good for me because I don't have any of that type of stuff. The only thing I knew how to do well was to love on you.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I can listen. I can care for you. I can make you feel heard. I can do all of these other things like that. But I didn't have, a father figure. I didn't have, the parent role. It just wasn't very present. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't present. So it was a lot of me trying to really find my way and using what I did have and what I did get growing up and taking the best parts of that and giving you what I did have. And then for anything I didn't have, it was like, okay, well, she came from this. She has this way of being. Let me take some of that stuff on too, because it can make me better. It can help us operate in our family dynamic a whole lot better. So we were able to share those unique differences that made our relationship so unique.
It is so dope what you just said. I don't even think you realize how dope it was. You said, I had this, but I didn't have this. But everything that I had, I was willing to give it to you. Boy, what? Like, yes. Like, oh my God. Like, not focusing on what you lack, but it's like, okay, well, I know I'm winning in this area, so I'm going to be the best in this area for her, for our relationship. Like, that shit is fucking dope. Like, that was beautiful. That's beautiful, baby.
For real, though, like, I ain't gonna toot my own horn or nothing like that, but it was.
You should.
I know what I'm getting at in there is like, it's not that I didn't come from like the best household or upbringing or nothing like that. What I do focus on is the fact that there was a few things that were present in my life always, and love was one of them. And in having that, at least that little piece right there, I didn't know how valuable it would be when I came across you.
Very valuable.
And so I doubled down on it because like with you and mom and all that other stuff, like you weren't used to somebody who was as loving and caring and all of those different things that I was for you. And I was like, okay, well, I can offer that and I can do it well. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's like, okay, well, even if I didn't get a lot of things that maybe I should have gotten, it still didn't take away from me being able to magnify and use what I did have to be able to care for you in a way that was different. Because I know you had not encountered anything like, granted, we was only 18, when we met each other. So
still.
You hadn't encountered a whole lot.
Right.
But it was something that was meaningful that I didn't even know how meaningful it actually was until, a little bit later down the line.
Right. And I didn't even, well, I know this kind of cut you off, but you really taught me how to show love physically. Like how to hug, how to hold hands, how to just express to somebody, how to make love in action. Right. Like you really taught me. I didn't even realize, like, you were young. I didn't realize love was really in action until I got older. And you taught me that shit because I'm like, bro, why you all up on me like that? Like,
first off,
why? Like, why? Like, why you always touching me? Why you always want to be so close? But now I'm like, why you not close to me? Like, why are our chairs so far apart? Like, why you not touching my feet right now? You know what I'm saying? So like physical touch, like slowly but surely became like my thing. And you teaching me how to show love and express love helped me with baby girl. So like I hug on her, me and her snuggle, like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't do that. I mean, I did it, but it's different now. It's right. Just different. Like the feeling is just so much more. And I think it was very important for her. Luckily, she was smaller, but luckily now she can see like, no, mom really loves me. Mom really shows me. Like she's going to hug me. We're going to do our little cool handshake and stuff like that. But that is a dope thing that you taught me that has made like everything, honestly. Like my relationship with you, my relationship with baby. I mean, y'all are the most important relationships to me. So, like, I don't know what I would have done if you didn't teach me how to do that because it's amazing.
I'll say this. First off, on all the Terrell women, I put that in all of y'all. Because y'all the most loving, affectionate women ever now. And y'all was not with that in the beginning.
Mugs always want to take credit.
Then you just tell me to toot my
horn. I changed my mind because I tooted it.
No, but let me do me now, because now it's like, even though that ended up like evolving into that, what ended up happening later is it made a lot of the challenges that we faced, I think, so much easier to navigate, because we created that level of connection between all of us and being able to display love. So when we had, difficult issues and parenting and other different things like that, we was like, you know what? Can you reference back to how we've loved on you? We've shown you what it looks like. We've taught you what it looks like. We've shown you what it feels like. You've experienced it from us, and it's never been anything that you've had to guess about. And so it's like, it's great that one big trait that I got, like growing up, ended up being able to show its value in so many different ways later on down the line, even though I didn't know what it would be later. You know what I mean? Or in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think all of that really kind of just comes back to, the uniqueness of what our relationship is, because from the affection, from the structure, from us operating as a team and creating this partnership, all of those things are things that we've created and constructed over the years. Mm-hmm. Like, they were never just, our household is going to be this. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, we did things for this way, this way for so long, or whatever the case. That probably could have been better. Mm-hmm. Let's adjust and start doing things this way. And we just always have had the mindset where we were ready to shift at any time to do things that serve us as we evolve.
Yeah.
And as we evolve as parents, as we've evolved as, a couple, all of these different things. And our relationship even now is so much different from what it was, years ago.
For sure.
And it's that uniqueness that I think that also keeps our relationship it keeps it so fresh. It keeps it so exciting and all of these other things, because as we evolve, as we learn more things about us, and we figure out more things that don't serve us and things that do serve us, it keeps us, in this constant state of like transformation and deepening the unique love that we have.
Yeah, unique love.
Well, unique relationship. You know what I'm talking about? Like, all of that. Get up off my neck, man. Like,
what?
Anyway.
But yeah, what we have is definitely special. Something else I was gonna say was rewind. You taught me how to not be so uptight, how to not be so strict as like a parent, and as like how we run the household. He was like, "Baby, relax. Like, everything don't gotta be perfect in the house. It needs to be like, it needs to look lived in type thing. Like, you used to make sure. I ain't gonna say you used to make sure. Oh, that I heard you do it. But that's something you did teach me, was like kind of like loosen up a bit. You don't gotta be so uptight about everything, so strict about everything. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to be spontaneous. Everything doesn't have to be planned out. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. And I didn't realize how uptight I was until you.
It's kind of stressful to me.
Like, why? I mean, I know why. I know where it comes from.
Of course.
I know where it comes from. But learning that, like, it don't gotta be that way. Like, live life. Like, enjoy life. Everything doesn't have to be so. Like, my life was militant before I was in the military. Like, it was, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, chill out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something you did teach me. I don't know if I ever told you that, but yeah, you told me that.
Nah, not even a little bit.
Yeah.
But hey, I know now. Because we've been uncovering a lot in this process.
You know what? That's what I think is so dope about us recording. Is like, one, we don't talk about the questions or whatever before we record. So hearing your answers about anything, I'm like, dang, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like,
we literally press record.
Yeah.
And then just see what happens.
So, like, uncovering things and then discovering each other, like, through the conversations is pretty dope, too. It's interesting. I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm learning you all over again.
Yeah, and as we've stepped into this new mindset, into this new way of being, like, being able to observe each other is dope as hell to me.
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine what this would have been like had we have done it years ago. You know what I mean? And like now, with so much more experience and insight and having overcame so many different situations and all of this, like, and being in the mindset that we in, it makes it that much more cool to be able to, like, grow through this process with you.
Yeah.
And so I love everything about it.
Same. And
it's created another opportunity for us to be able to expand our relationship and to do all of these different things that create a closer connection between us.
Yeah.
And it's like now, it's like we're in this place to where our relationship is evolving yet again.
Yeah, I was actually telling one of my friends that this has been a level of intimacy that I didn't know that we kind of like needed. Because like, we always, I don't know if it's just because we're recording and we're sharing value, but I mean, our conversations are always dope. But I don't know what it is about us doing it in this setting, pressing record and sharing it. Like the intimacy of that is like everything to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's different and it's beautiful because it's just new.
Yeah.
And
it's so amazing to be able to get to learn who Adoria is today.
Yeah. It's so weird saying my name. Don't say my name. That's my name. That's not my name.
Who my baby is today.
Okay, thank you.
Who Boop is today. Okay. Blanket Baddie.
You're annoying.
Yeah. That's gonna be her new nickname. So when y'all watch this, put a hashtag Blanket Baddie. In the comments.
Don't do that. Don't.
People be on you about this blanket.
I know everybody wants my blanket.
I want a blanket.
We're gonna have some merch soon. Stop playing.
But it's been so dope, man, to just see our relationship evolving yet again.
Yeah.
As we're working on becoming, better communicators, as we're working on, being able to provide more value. And not even just that though, because we talk about providing value, but it's not even that we're providing it. It's more so it's like, hey, you know what? These are questions that we have or people have asked us, and we're searching for the answers and allowing other people to be able to watch us have the conversations around the things that either we may have thought about before or maybe we haven't. Mm-hmm. Or even us like uncovering things as we're talking about it. Mm-hmm. Because it's not even about us having the right answers all the time. Yeah. It's about us being able to present the question, have the conversations about it, and maybe it'll spark, somebody else's idea or perspectives, and they can add to the conversation. For sure. It's not to show up, as an expert or say that, hey, we got all the answers or anything like that. Like, no, we thinking about it. We thinking through this thing. This is where we at with it today or whatever. And, this is how we think about these particular types of topics based off of who we are today and whatever our life experiences are. Mm-hmm. And just uncovering all of those different things, like, and it's creating yet another new opportunity for us to be able to deepen the communication and the relationship that we have through doing something so creative and different. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man, like this is a vibe. It is a vibe. It's a whole vibe.
We're a vibe.
We are.
We're the vibe.
Man, let's cheers to that, man. That way.
You so annoying.
Anyway. So I do have a question for you, though.
Oh, God.
Yeah, oh, God. I don't know why it's like you always assume.
I swear. No, it's not even that. It's that it's on the spot. So immediately, if something's on the spot, my anxiety is like, what?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we in here.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Exactly.
Oh, my God.
That's exactly how it is. It's like, oh, shit. Like, what now? Like, okay, pressure.
Nah, it's fine.
I'm working on that, though.
It's not that big a deal.
No, it is, though. For me, it is. I'm not saying the question.
You're learning to adjust.
The question itself is not a big deal. It's the fact that it's something that sprung up on me on the spot. Yeah. I can know the right perfect answer. It doesn't matter. It's just how I react to it. My body's like, oh shit, unexpected. He's gonna ask you something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
go ahead. Anxiety rises up.
Yeah. That's just how I am. So that's something I'm working through. Okay, now ask me questions so I can go ahead and get over this feeling.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, from what you've seen, from friends or social media, like relationships that we've been around, people pursuing them, whatever. Mm-hmm. All of your data points, right?
You and data points.
All of that.
Okay.
What do you think may be one of the biggest points of friction as to why people have a hard time creating their own unique style of relationships? What do you think their resistance is, or are people even conscious of the fact that they're mirroring something else? Like, what do you think that reason might be?
That's a hard question. I don't know. It could be a mixture between people not really knowing what they want because they haven't experienced enough to see what they do and don't want. So much of social media is telling you what you want or what you should want. So now you're not sure if that's really what you want or if you're being influenced by it or being pressured to want this. People really not communicating if they do know their wants and needs, not really being able to communicate that in a way where the other person can either understand or they both can come to a mutual ground or whatever. I feel like it's so much. It's so many areas of resistance there. Yeah. So I don't even think there's like a one answer thing. I think it's like multiple factors that contribute to friction. Yeah.
I agree with that. Because I ain't even got a straight answer for that, and I just wanted.
Sorry, you just want to pick my brain.
No, I wanted to watch you navigate it because that makes you better, and I want to be able to contribute to you being able to get over this anxiety that you have. And man, I want to watch you, evolve through that.
Well, did I do good?
You did great.
You did great, right?
Because I didn't even have an answer for nothing like that because
I borderline forgot the question halfway through my answer.
I got you. It'd be like that.
I was like pressure. But anyway,
it'd be like that.
Yeah, I kind of did. What was the question?
But in the sum of it, it's like why people have such a difficult time creating their own unique relationships, and maybe more so like the factors that contribute to creating that level of difficulty or whatever.
Oh, okay. So my answer was good.
Yeah, I mean, and in a nutshell, like you said, there's so many different influences around people's decisions and why they think the way that they do. Mm-hmm. So it could be a gang of different reasons. You know what I mean? From them being around parents, them observing other relationships, social media, friends. It could be
something they made up in their head. Like it's a lot. Yeah, it's
so many different things or whatever. But I know for us, one of the biggest things that I think it really kind of boils back to is like being willing to really know a person, like being intentional about getting to know a person so well to where you even know if you want to go that far with the person, knowing what their morals and their values are, like what's important to them, why they are the way that they are, how was their upbringing, what are their thought processes around certain things. Like we had already uncovered the vast majority of that stuff before we were anything.
So do you think people aren't asking the right questions?
Yeah, and a lot of people don't ever get off the surface because a lot of the times, you see somebody and he or she is super attractive or whatever, and that's it for you in the beginning, and then you get to know that person and you decide whether or not, you want to even allow that person in to get to know you at that deeper level. And so through observation, I know that I've seen people who rarely ever leave the surface. But a lot of us have been through so many different things to where it's hard to let other people in to where they feel comfortable coming off of that and allowing people in. Because people aren't the way that they are for no reason. Yeah. And you really have to be with somebody long enough and go through enough with them for them to even be able to expose themselves. Because I know even with me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You be going on and on. I be having questions.
I'm sorry.
So how do you think the other person should navigate that? It's like, okay, how does that person show that they're a safe space for the other person to open up?
Well, when you with somebody long enough,
what is long enough? Like, so you got what?
I'm gonna clear that up.
Okay.
When I say long enough for shit to happen.
Okay.
When you with somebody long enough, life is gonna start happening in that person's life, and either you're gonna show up and be present and support them the way that they need to, be that shoulder to lean on, whatever the case may be. And those opportunities are probably going to show up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And how you show up in those moments are going to be defining points behind what the person you're supporting, the person that you're with, how they start to look at you. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why I say that, though, is because that's what happened with us. Mm-hmm. We went through a lot of crap over 2.5 years. And so there were so many opportunities to show up for each other. Yeah. To where there was no real doubt. Yeah. And sometimes in relationships, like when these opportunities show up and life starts to happen for, the person that you're with, how you show up really defines how they see you. Mm. Like, can I depend on you? Are you going to be there? When this happens to me, are you going to cast judgment on me? Mm. Are you going to be somebody that just listens? Or are you going to try to impart your beliefs or overly, motivate me out of my situation? Or like, how are you going to respond? Are you going to know me enough to know how I need support? And if you do that enough times, if that happens enough times, and I ain't necessarily saying that it always got to be something bad. Mm-hmm. It's just, if enough life happens, there's going to be so many different unique events that show up. That's going to be defining moments as to how do you show up in the life of that person. And they're going to start to relate that to you as to like, you know what? This is somebody that I can trust with this. Mm. Or this is somebody who I can depend on in these particular types of situations. This is somebody who I can share these deeper, more intimate parts of me or whatever. And then also, when that happens, as life continues to happen, you get met with different situations. And if the person is really intentional about getting to know you, they'll ask you questions. Why do you feel that way? You just experienced this or whatever, and you reacted that way. Like, what made you feel like that was the right way to, to react or to respond or whatever the case? Why is this impacting you the way that it is? You know what I'm saying? And granted, that might just be me. That might just be me because I think like that. But I think when you are really intentional about getting to know somebody and really deepening that connection, you should ask those probing questions to at least create a space to where the opportunity to get to know that person on a deeper level can exist. Mm-hmm. Even if it's rejected, at least you tried. Maybe that person knows the answers, maybe they don't. So
I think what kind of ran through my mind while you were ranting.
It was just, I had to give you the full thought on how I felt about it.
The phase. Are we talking about dating phase? Or are we talking about we already in a relationship? Because some people will be like, oh, well, we just like dating. Like, it's not that serious. We still just kind of trying to get to know each other. So why should they open up that to that extent? So I guess like that's my question. Like, are we talking about like dating? And then even when you talk about dating, it's like, well, how long have you been dating? Like, it's just so many like different factors. So I'm like I'm trying to figure out like
at what phase does like the rules change?
Yeah, because I feel like even I can't relate. Okay, but I'm saying like if we just dating and getting to know each other, like I don't want to deep dive immediately. Like it's fucking scary. Like it's scary to let somebody in that far so quickly,
right? Like
and expecting them to be that everything you need in that moment so soon. Like that's so much responsibility to put on somebody you just met or you're just dating, whether however long it's been. That's a lot. Like, and that's a lot of expectation to have for somebody.
I don't think you would at that point because, like we said, in previous episodes, most people meet and they're like right in that dating phase. You know what I mean? Like they jump right into that.
Yeah, they jump in the dating phase. Yeah. Yes, to getting to know each other. But if you're saying like, okay, well, life happening, how you show up in my life, like we just dating. Like I'm not. If my grandma died, I don't expect you to come to my funeral or come to her funeral. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's just figuring out like what do you mean when you say like showing up when life happens? Like in what phase? Like what phase of dating or of relationship status do you decide how to show up? I guess that's really like it's kind of confusing. Like it's a lot of gray. Like I'm not in it, but it's a lot of gray areas because it's like how do you define how you show up in that moment? And I guess it just boils down to communicating. Yeah, communicating that because it's really like for me, like on the outside looking in, it's really confusing for me because I'm like, I hear what you're saying, and that shit is so fucking profound. Like it's so fucking profound. But you're talking about some people who really you like when you intentional as fuck. You trying to marry. Like you're dating to marry, not dating to just experience. That's that's the questions you're asking. That's how it sounds to me. But a lot of people aren't like that. They're dating to see what they like. They're not trying to be exclusive immediately. So I don't know. It's just I'm confused. I'm confused.
It's tough though because again, from the outside looking in, because we can't relate. Well, especially me, like I can't relate at all. You see so many people who are dating, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't never even heard of a dude relate to it as I'm dating. I ain't never even heard of it. You know what I'm saying? Mm. I've heard women say it, but I can't in real life. Mm-hmm. Not on the movie or a show. I can't remember ever really coming across a dude saying I'm dating. Mm. I've never heard it. Like I've never
either you're with it or you're not.
Basically. Okay. Or you hoeing or you doing something like that or whatever. Okay. So like from my experience, I've never in real life encountered a dude who's dating. So to say or whatever. It's either with somebody or they just having a good time, so to say, mm-hmm. or he just trying to get his rocks off wherever he can. You know what I'm saying? And that's, unfortunate as that may sound, that's just kind of what it is. Not all the time, but from what I've experienced personally in my life. But for me, what I would say, even going back to the basis of my statement before, I don't think that it takes that much thought to just be there for somebody. Like, you don't necessarily gotta be there and support somebody at the same level as though, a fiance or a spouse would or something like that. But like, hey, you can fucking care. You know what I mean? Like if somebody got some stuff going on, like you can express caring about that. Like it don't take a whole lot of extra to just be fucking decent and to ask questions that mean something to show that you care about a person in their situation, because who knows, it could be in those moments to where the relationship deepens. You know what I mean? And again, it's not even to say that it's always bad, but it's just being intentional about how you connect with a person. Because if you're dating or whatever the case may be, I I would assume that you're still moving intentionally because you have a level of interest in a person to where you would even want to see how they respond in certain situations. And I'm sure they would want to see, well, if I told you this or if you knew this was going on, how do you respond to me when I tell you this stuff? It's like pre-qualifying type situations that you can't even like plan out. Like they happen so organically, but it's like now I'm in this situation and the opportunity has been created to see how we might work together or how we might or how you respond in situations like that. You know what I mean? Because I think any woman or man would care about how the person that they're considering being with would respond. Like if I'm telling you like, oh well, I missed your call XYZ amount of times or whatever because whatever's going on. Let me see how you respond to that. Are you a caring person? Are you an angry person? Are you somebody who's going to fly off on me or whatever? Are you going to ask me questions? How are you going to comfort me in that particular type of situation? How do you show support? Most people may not even think like that or whatever. But when it happens, you experience it and you feel it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So even though it may not be one of those things that people would intentionally dive into, I think it would happen naturally just by a person expressing the way that they care.
I'm just picking your brain because you did it to me.
Of course. But does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Did I pass the test?
Nope.
Hell no. I tried, man, but that's really how I feel though, so it is what it is.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I appreciate that.
I think like just of course you can only speak from your own perspective and your own mindset, but even your answers are from a man of good character, from a nice guy. So how you answer questions, like you're just a nice ass dude. So your answers are always like super like thought out and super caring and emotion filled. Cause you're just a good ass like dude. So when I ask you certain questions, I'm like, yeah, like what you're saying is accurate for you, yeah. But then most men, I'm not gonna say most men, a lot of men act real nonchalant and stuff like that. So I'm like, I mean, your answer was good though.
All I can never give is my perspective.
Of course. I mean, we can't even really like talk about like dating for real because we don't. I mean, we've been married almost 9 years, so it's like we've been out the game. Like,
yeah. I mean, we still date. But
I mean, we date, but we're married. We're not dating.
Type dating.
Yeah, we ain't dating around. Like, but yeah. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but only answer I can ever give, is the ones from how I would see it. But I know we do live in a world where now, in the creating of these unique relationships, so many people have created fantasies in their minds of what it's supposed to be like and what their expectations are. And even crazy enough, inside of that, a lot of the times people be thinking that they want shit that they don't even know that they don't want until they actually got it.
Of course.
And it's like you don't even realize it until you
experience it.
Yeah.
Facts.
Or you knee deep involved in it.
Facts.
And it's like, matter of fact, and I was talking to a friend of mine today or whatever, and it's like, let's say if you're a woman and you want a dude who's a boss, who got plenty of money and all this other stuff, whatever, which sounds good initially until you find out that this dude is hyper aggressive and you so extra. But
some of y'all don't do that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you find a dude, and let's say you want somebody who's financially stable and or who has money. He's a boss or owns a business, whatever, and he's all of that stuff. But he's also super freaking aggressive or abusive and all of these other things or whatever, but he meet all the other character traits. But she was attracted to all of that superficial stuff. You know what I mean? Or the dude who wants a chick who's bad, so to say, and looks like the Instagram models and all of the other stuff. But all she want to do is freaking drain the person that you are, dry. Either be it from your money or be it for whatever the hell, or maybe she's not emotionally there or doesn't support you the way that you want to be supported and don't, give all these wifely attributes that you think she's supposed to have. So there's so many different sides to that coin when people don't have any clear idea on what it is that they want on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And staying on that surface level it comes with more than a fair level of challenges that some people never even escape. Or be with a person long enough to be able to even see what it's like beyond that.
Mm. I don't know if I hear baby or if I'm hearing random noise. Maybe she's in bed. I forgot what I was going to say. Damn, what was I going to say to you? I'm waiting for her to come in because I feel like she's going to come in at any moment.
It's 9:20. She should have been here.
She's in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You cut it.
Maybe we can. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. We were talking about surface level shit. And I be thinking, how do you know if you really like somebody if you only talk about surface level stuff? How do I know I like you? For real like you. Like you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
If we only talking about what we like to eat, the weather, traffic, little things we like to do together, but it's not even
vacations, where you want to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is, important to talk about that stuff, in the beginning and stuff like that. But it's okay, now we got to kind of talk about, we got to ask some comfortable questions and stuff like this. How did you grow up? What's really important to you? Type thing. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what it made me think about.
Not a lot of that happens enough.
Yeah, and for us, we became friends first, so it's I knew so much about you, and I just gradually became more interested in you because I'm bro, you dope. I really like you. But I got to know you first, really got to know you the raw, real you first. So I was definitely lucky in that aspect for sure. It was I don't even think we really started out with no surface level. I think the only surface level thing that you knew about me for real was that I like Wendy's, and then everything else was deep from there. You know what I mean? So
because of my questions and stuff, I used to ask you all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm dang, why you want to know so much about me?
Because I like you.
Wow.
Because you're cute and you beautiful and you treat me nicely.
I'm cute and beautiful and treat you nicely. You're annoying. Yeah, I mean,
whatever works.
Yeah, I guess. But, yeah. And you just like me because you really just like me because I was pretty. I had a big booty. Don't lie.
Visually, that caught my attention first.
Of course it did.
How could it not?
Of course.
But man, excuse me.
I know this mosquitoes make me burp.
Man, man, when I got to actually experience you and you open your mouth and got to talk to you and actually see what you thought, what you felt, and just got to see how nice and cool of a person you were. And that was it for me. Like, I was like, yeah, I like this chick. Like, I want to be around her more often. I was feeling you, girl.
Of course
Feeling you.
Of course you were.
How could I not?
Exactly. I guess we can kind of end this episode.
Yeah.
Just kind of rambling at this point. I don't even know if we're going to actually use this.
But we can get some
We can
stuff
chop it
out
up.
of
Yeah, we can chop it up for sure.
Yeah, we can get some stuff. I was already thinking about that.
Yeah.